Hi everyone, happy return. I hope you're all having a great day so far. As of right now, Donald Trump leads Kamala Harris in the bulk of surveys, but there are a few where Kamala Harris is in the lead, truly surpassing Trump by a few points. At this moment, the race is quite close, and there are just under 100 days left before Election Day. However, we'll be discussing several. We'll discuss the major proposals Kamala Harris has for 2025 in the event that she defeats Donald Trump in the presidential race. But first, let's take a closer look at them. Into the primary substance of today's video, if you could kindly assist me right away by simply liking this video, which merely aids the good old YouTube algorithm, and also think about subscribing to my channel if you haven't already, then good. Today's video will discuss some more of Kamala Harris's views. This comes directly from an article published in The Motley Fool, where they state that Citizens Committee on Social Security 10 things you should be aware of. First, they state that, officially speaking, the Harris campaign has not yet adopted a plan, which is something that is quite crucial to be aware of. It's kind of irrelevant, really, because we can look at Joe Biden's Social Security record and the various policies he has supported. Additionally, keep in mind that Biden made a lot of promises before taking office. He made several promises on Social Security, including an increase, a greater cost of adjustments, and a higher special minimum benefit. However, as of right now, none of those things have materialized, although Biden has not yet explicitly advocated for Social Security reform, he has pushed other issues. Therefore, this isn't entirely his fault, because these measures would first need to pass Congress. He has advocated for infrastructure improvements and student loan relief, but few Americans have seen him publicly support Social Security reform. This is the second example that many Americans find unsatisfactory. The reason for Harris's steadfast opposition to any measure that would lower or eliminate Social Security payments is because she opposes raising the retirement age as well as any form of benefit reduction. Because raising the full retirement age is one of the recommendations in the event that they manage to draft a significant bill in Congress that enjoys bipartisan support from both Republicans and Democrats. She would veto such a law since, as of right now, she is claiming that she is against all forms of benefit cuts, reductions in benefits, and increasing of the full retirement age. Third, if she were to become the next president of the United States, she would veto any law that reached her desk since she is vehemently opposed to all of that. She has also previously backed proposals from President Biden. Joe Thus, Vice President Harris, has supported President Biden's initiatives to strengthen Social Security, including the latter's recent demand to reintroduce the 12.4% payroll tax on earnings over $400,000 annually. All income earned in 2024 will be subject to a 12.4% tax. However, anything beyond $168,600 will be free from taxation. Biden wants to change this so that all income over $400,000 will be subject to taxation once more. This is intriguing because Kamala Harris, a senator from California, backed the $250,000 level, meaning that income between $168,000 and $250,000 would be subject to taxes ranging from 1 penny to $168,000 annually. Annually would be exempt from taxes, while any income beyond $250,000 would be subject to additional taxes. She backed this idea as a co-sponsor of a measure introduced by Bernie Sanders, known as the Social Security Expansion Act, which is what we are going to talk about now. The fourth is Senator Bernie Sanders, who sponsored the Social Security Expansion Act in 2019 while serving as a senator from California. The measures for co-sponsors in the upper house of Congress, then Senator Harris of California. Rather than being reestablished on earned income around, Sanders's bill would take an even more aggressive approach to payroll tax collection. $400,000. She essentially backed this plan, which would have raised the tax threshold to $250,000 instead of $250,000, because the Social Security Expansion Act asks for the 12.4% payroll tax to resume at that amount. The fifth is that she supports an extension of the cost of living adjustment for seniors, so instead of using the CPIW, which is now in use, they should use the CPE. The CPE is greater for costs generally borne by the elderly, which have been somewhat higher than the CPI. Kamala Harris would prefer to switch the COLA to the CP each and every year, instead of compared to the CPIW, which is an additional item that Joe Biden backed, but which never passed Congress. Additionally, he may not have pushed for this item hard enough because he was able to get the infrastructure bill passed. He was also able to advocate for student loan forgiveness, but he did not actively press for Social Security reform. This brings us to our sixth anticipated development. Another provision of Bernie Sanders' Social Security expansion plan was a $200 monthly benefit raise for both new and existing beneficiaries. This increase would be available to everyone nationwide. The seventh Social Security beneficiary to be received by the board is Harris, who sought to raise the special minimum benefit. As a result, the special minimum payment for this year in 2024 is $1,066.50. Harris would like to raise it to 25% above the federal poverty line. If you are now receiving the special minimum benefit, going on to the next level would mean an increase of almost $500 per month. Eighth-day Haris would close payroll tax loopholes so that the wealthy would pay their fair share. As we have covered in the previous segment of today's video, the first $166 is all that you pay payroll tax on. If you make this year's earnings in 2024, she will ultimately raise it to the point where you will once more be required to pay payroll tax on any income beyond $250,000 or $400,000 annually. That donut hold between $166 and $250 or $400,000, where payroll tax would not be due until once more, and then payroll tax would be due on any income over $250 or $400,000 annually on the ninth one, is that, despite the fact that Kamala-Harris's proposals would increase money from higher taxes on the wealthiest citizens, it is quite unlikely that they will reform Social Security. Earners in the United States would essentially balance all of the additional revenue that is entering the trust fund with the $200 monthly increase for each and every one of them. The solvency issue would essentially be offset by the special minimum benefit and increases in the cost of living adjustment, negating any beneficial benefits from extra revenue entering the trust fund. Would not be resolved because, while more money would be coming into the trust fund, more money would simultaneously be leaving it. In other words, the problem would still arise in perhaps 5 more years. Years where we would have to raise taxes or reduce benefits once more, or else we would have to make general cuts, and the 10th one is perhaps the most significant, is that Congress would not provide much support to the likely Democratic nominee for president, meaning that very much any notion that Donald Trump has, whether you agree with it or not, would be unpopular. Harris possesses. It would be really difficult for them to get such ideas passed by Congress and signed into law, whether you like it or not. I mean, a bill is fairly simple to pass via that through the House of Representatives, where legislation only needs a simple majority to pass, and the Senate, which has 100 senators, is essentially where laws end up. To vote in the Senate, a minimum of 60 senators must be present. Absolutely, and it has been a very long time since there have been 60 Democrats and 60 Republicans in the Senate. In the Senate, which is extremely uncommon, we often have 51 Democrats and 49 Republicans, or 3 Republicans and 47 Democrats. In certain instances, a bill may have received the support of 53 Republicans, but the plan would not pass the Senate if all 47 Democrats voted against it. Instead, it would have to receive the support of at least 7 Democrats in order for the 53 Republicans to vote in favor of it. Therefore, for any bill to actually pass in Congress this year, next year, or in any future years, it would need to be supported by both parties, and we would need to have at least some Republicans. In order for the plan to have any chance of passing with 60 votes, Democrats must cooperate with Republicans. Having said that, I want to ask you guys one last thing before I end this video. What level of confidence do you have in Donald Trump or Kamala Harris about the future of Social Security? Please respond with your responses in the space provided below. But that's all we possess for the video of today. I sincerely hope you found it entertaining and useful. If you do watch it again, I would be very kind if you could give this video a like, and, if you haven't already, consider subscribing to my channel. Not yet, and I'll see you in the upcoming video.